Send the left leg out. We'll take our inhale back up to neutral. Exhale out over the legs. Feeling the difference on this third forward bend. How much more open, how much more flexible the hamstrings are than that first time that you came over. Start to deepen your forward bend. I want you to think about rolling up to the front of the sitting bones. That way we know that the pelvis is starting to roll forward and that you're not pulling from the lower back. We'll take one more deep breath in our forward bend. Using your next inhale to roll yourself up to sitting. And we'll draw both feet in, joining soles of the feet coming into Baddha Konasana. The nice inner hip opener. Taking a hold of the feet or the ankles. Use your inhale to lift the chest, lift up out of the lower back by trying to make space in the belly, nice and long here. So we don't want to curve back, put any pressure into the lower spine. On your exhale, from the hips, starting to hinge yourself forward like you're trying to reach the chest straight down toward your toes. As you do this, if you feel any gripping or tension in the outer hip muscles, try to let that release on your exhale. One more deep breath. Next inhale brings you up to sitting. From here, we're going to take the hands onto the feet and then try to open the big toes out to the sides, almost like you would open a book. It might feel a little bit strange at first for the feet, but it's really important to keep flexibility in your feet in order to maintain healthy knees. It's a big part of our balance. And being able to distribute weight evenly through the leg. What we're going to start to do is just use the thumbs and press from the ball of the foot all the way down the arch, back to the heel. It's nice to do a little massage every once in a while. Keep the circulation going in your feet, especially in the winter. Get cold feet. And one more time, try to open the big toes out to the sides, keeping the little toes touching. Releasing the feet. We're going to take the left leg and just fold it in. You can do this however you're comfortable sitting. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to give a little extra attention to the right foot. You're going to take your left fingers and try to interlace it in between the toes. And you might have seen they actually sell little plastic gadgets that you can do this with if you feel like spending $15 or something like that do this exact same thing. It stretches out the web space in between each toe and keeps that flexibility. Once you have your fingers in between, just start to bend them back and forth. First starting out just with the movement in the toes. And then you can start to bend back and forth, moving up into the ankle joint. Maybe taking a little circle. Releasing your foot down. I want you to think about spreading your toes nice and wide. Starting to slide the fingers out. Trying to maintain that space in between the toes. wiggling your toes a few times, we'll switch over to the other foot, holding the right foot in, taking left foot out in front, taking your right hand, trying to interlace the fingers in between each toe. Just starting out, feeling that nice stretch. When you're ready, you can bend the toes back and forth. Eventually moving that all the way up to the ankle joint. Pointing and flexing the foot, even making this little circle. Placing your foot back down, spreading your toes out as wide as you can. Slowly slide your fingers out. Try to maintain that space in between. Takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of stretching to really get the foot warmed up, especially if the feet haven't gotten a lot of attention in a while. But it's worth it, especially if you're having any kind of issue with your knees or your hips. Now let's take the feet out front. We'll come up into a boat pose. Lift the shins up, starting out with the hands to the back of the legs just to give yourself support. And then you can actually look down at your feet. See that line from the knee down to the second toe. And spread your toes nice and wide. And they should be pretty flexible now. And I've mentioned to you guys a couple times about making the Barbie foot. You're going to get the most lift and the most power out of your foot when you kind of press through the ball of the foot. So it's not a completely pointed toe and you're not completely flexing. It's like somewhere right in the middle. Toes are spread out, and you're pushing out through the ball of the foot. On your exhale, you can release the feet down, roll the legs out to one side, and let's roll over onto hands and knees. Starting out in your table, you're going to send the right leg back, curl the toes underneath, and then just start by pressing back through the heel. Get a nice stretch through your calf muscles. With our next inhale, we'll lift the right leg up, making our way into a balancing table. We'll lift the left arm up, trying to bring it right up next to the ear. Feeling a strong reach out through the fingertips, out through your toes. And we'll start to circle the ankle, circle the wrist. But maintaining that lift, make sure that the arm and leg don't start to sag. Taking a few circles in each direction. We'll come back to our inhale, reaching out, finding that length, and then using your exhale to release down. We'll come over to the other side, sending the left leg back, curl the toes underneath, press back through your heel to get that opening through your calf muscles. Our next inhale, lift the left leg up. Right arm comes up by the right ear. Finding your length with an inhale. On your exhale, engaging the core muscles to get your balance. When you're ready, starting to circle the ankle and circle the wrist. Switching directions, taking a few circles the other way. Coming back to your inhale, lengthening your balancing table. Exhale, releasing down slowly. Let's curl our toes underneath. Take an exhale, roll back into down dog. to stretch the calves out a little bit more, you can always pedal the feet. It might feel pretty good though, because we got that good stretch in our table. For a few weeks now, we've been talking a lot about the hands in down dog, about spreading the fingers, pressing each of the fingers down into the floor, paying special attention to the thumb and the index finger so that we don't roll any weight into the outer wrist. It's a really sensitive area out there. We want to kind of think about the same thing with the feet, spreading the toes out, feeling each toe press into the floor equally. You want to make sure that your weight isn't rolling into the big toes or out to the little toes. Let's take an inhale, roll forward into high plank, dropping the knees if you need to, taking a half plank. And just feeling that nice length out through the center of the body. On your next exhale, take a slow chaturanga, lower yourself down to the floor. Release the toes, tops of the feet are flat, take an inhale, roll up into cobra. Draw the elbows into the sides of the body. On your exhale, slide the shoulder blades down. Taking one more inhale. On your exhale, roll down the spine. Inhaling, elbows stay tight as you press into the palms to come up through table. With your exhale, reach back through the tailbone, eventually settling your hips back onto your heels to take child's pose. Have really sensitive knees, sometimes child's pose can be a problem because this is a really strong bend in the knee, it's a lot of knee flexion. If that's a problem, you can take a block and put it in between your feet and sit on the block so that the knees don't bend quite as far. You can also take like a rolled up blanket or something like that to give yourself a little bit of padding. Let's use our next inhale to pull forward into table. We'll curl our toes underneath. Use our exhale, roll back into down dog. Either staying in your down dog, or if you'd like, take an inhale, raise the right leg up behind you, taking a three-legged dog. The nice benefit of that three-legged dog is you're going to feel an extra stretch through the left calf muscles. Left heel is really dropping down to the floor. On your next exhale, draw the right foot up in between the hands. Find your high lunge. Exhaling here, sinking the hips straight down to the floor. And then starting out right here, before we put any pressure into the leg for our standing poses, we want to make sure that the knee is directly over the ankle and that the kneecap is lined up with the second toe of the foot. On our left leg, we're working on drawing the left knee up, trying to keep that leg straight, reaching back through the left heel. Let's take an exhale, drop the left knee down, release the toes, top of the foot onto the floor. We'll take an inhale, sweep the arms up into Anjane. Exhaling down to the heart.